The American Theater Wing and the New York Public Library for the Performing Arts bring you the American Theater Wing's Guide to Careers in the Theater. This session, the Hair and Makeup Department.
Hello, I'm Pia Lindström with the American Theater Wing, and with me is hair and makeup artist Bob Kelly. Mr. Kelly has been associated with such works as City of Angels, Victor Victoria, Crazy for You, Beauty and the Beast, among hundreds of musical plays. And also with us, we have two young women, a makeup artist, Kristen Paitner, and Amy Tagliamonte, who is going to be made up. But first, welcome.
Well, thank you kindly.
What exactly, give me a job description of a makeup artist.
Job description? Well, I think makeup artist is someone that changes the person into a character or to whatever they have to be on the stage, whether it's a ghost or a beast or whatever, you know. Change, you know, basically.
Who hires the wig maker and the makeup artist?
Well, it's changed over the years, but usually the person that hires them, when you do a Broadway show, they usually hire a hairdresser or somebody like that. And the hairdresser will come to the shop and will select what kind of wigs he wants. Or many years ago, it used to be the costume designer. That came before the hairdresser. The costume designer used to come into the shop and bring all her sketches in, and you'd sit down with them and you'd figure out what color you wanted, what length you wanted the hair, what shape you wanted the wig to be. And then you'd sit down and figure the prices, how much it costs to put a show on. Then, of course, they would take that all back to the producer, and he'd say no. So you had to start all over again, and eventually you got it worked out.
Are wigs expensive?
Wigs could go, this might shock you, but they can go for $10,000.
Oh, that would shock me.
Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't want to drop your coffee on that, then.
No, a handmade wig, the cheapest price is about $1,500, and it goes up $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. You know, depends on who the star is and what they want, what quality they want.
When you design wigs and work with a costume designer, what are some of the things you need to know?
Well, you need to know how to take measurements. You have to have the actors, they all come into the shop, and the head, and we measure their head. We take all the measurements of them to start with. Then basically we start making them. Once we have the measurements and they have the colors selected and they know what the sketches is, everything else we do them. Years ago when we did a show, they never came with a hairdresser. I was the one that hired the hairdresser. Mm-hmm. But today, for you kids out there, it's a different story. You got to contact the costume designers, get in touch with the costume designer, and they will decide whether you're qualified to work with them, whether they like you or dislike you. A lot of it has to do with personality. You know, and if your personality hits the designers and things work out, you get the job.
What sort of personality usually hits a designer?
Well, every designer is different and every hairdresser is different. Mm-hmm. They just have to hit it together, you know.
Does the
design have to be able to make it together. Everybody can't work with everybody.
Do you need to know things like period and fashion and styles of hair from different centuries?
Pretty much so, but we have lots of books on that which we go into to select what we need, you know. But for the most of it, the designer is the one that does the sketching, mm-hmm. and you'll copy what she wants, you know. You'll have a lot of people out there that'll say, well, I'm the designer, but they're not really. They're just coming in with the costume designer's sketches, and you're duplicating the costume designer's sketches.
So someone brings you a sketch, the designer brings the sketch to you.
Yeah.
And then you have to execute the design. Do you ever make the design yourself?
Very seldom, because everybody pretty much knows what they want when they come to me, you know.
And do you ever say, well, I can't do that, that can't be done, that's not physically possible?
Not my policy.
Oh.
Huh? Anything can be done.
I see.
Some with a little more difficulty than others, but anything can be done.
How many wigs would a show need? I mean, something like Beauty and the Beast. I mean, they've got
42nd Street.
42nd Street. How many wigs?
Oh, there must have been a couple of hundred wigs on 42nd Street. A lot of stuff, a lot of wigs. And we got to turn them out in two weeks, you know. So it becomes quite a job.
So isn't it a logistical problem of keeping track of all these pieces of hair?
No, not really. Not really. We put all the samples in boxes and stuff like that, and the pattern for the person and the name on the box, so we know pretty much where everything is.
Do you work backstage?
Truthfully, I haven't worked backstage for 20 years.
But when you started?
When I started, I was always backstage doing a show.
So that's how most people begin.
Back in the 50s.
Yeah, well, that's when
Back
most
in the
people,
50s.
how do most people begin? They work backstage?
How do most people begin? How do they get the job?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's like I said before, you got to search out the producers, go to their office, try to talk to them, let them know you're a hairdresser. They'll introduce you to the costume designer. Possibly you get along with the costume designer. He might want to hire you. You know, there's many, many different ways of doing it, getting a hairdressing job or makeup. For instance, with the networks, they have an employment department, just like the girl that would hire the janitor. She would hire a makeup artist. She is the, what do you call it, the production manager or the employment department. ABC has it, NBC has it, CBS has it, you know. So you have to go out and knock on doors and get to meet people.
Well, let's look a little at what kind of transformation is going to happen here with Amy.
Well,
what is going on here?
I don't know. I can't
looks-
see
she-
the product in her hand.
She looks very pretty to begin with.
What
What are you doing now?
We're adding
Under
just
eye
a little,
cover?
yeah, under eye cover.
Under eye.
And a little
Okay.
foundation.
Cover the bags.
Cover the bags,
Cover the
very
bags,
important.
Yeah.
That
And maybe put it
young
down
woman
in,
doesn't
in
have
the
bags,
nabial,
but
put it in the nabial fold cover if you have any wrinkles in there, you know. We call it a product like Erase, you might call it, you know.
But for the stage, it's got to be quite different than for real life, because it has to be seen.
The colors have to be darker. You have to work maybe a little heavier.
You'd work heavier in order to be seen in the last row of the balcony.
Yeah, sort of, maybe a little darker shade. But sometimes not, you don't necessarily always have to go dark. There are light-skinned people around too, you know, and you just sort of enhance that color a little by bringing it up, maybe a shade darker or something like that, you know.
And how do you decide that? Do you go out in the audience and then
Again, well, how do you decide what color to make it? You
Right.
look at the costume designer sketches, basically. You go by what they want,
Right.
right?
Don't you ever say, this isn't
Yeah, well, you can
looking
complain.
good?
You can complain, say, well, I don't like that, I don't like this. And they'll say, well, maybe you're right, maybe you're wrong, you know. But basically, costume designers know pretty much what they want. And they get their own way.
Do you have to use a special makeup, or can any street makeup work on stage?
Well, I have a makeup kit which I sell for stage, you know.
But is the quality of makeup different, or is it the same?
Well, I think it's better. But makeup is basically the same.
same,
You can sometimes
okay.
use street color, street makeup on it too, you know. It depends on yourself how creative you are as an artist, you know.
How creative are you as an artist?
Me? I don't know. I guess mediocre. I'm not the greatest in the world. I'm not the worst, you know. Well, you don't want,
Well, what does
you
it
don't want me to
take-
fib.
What does it take to be creative? What are the skills that you need to be creative?
Well, I think first place, well, I teach kids makeup sometime, and they have to have a little artistic values themselves. They can't be a complete klutz with it. Like a child that can paint pictures and stuff like that, he's going to be good at doing makeup, you know. And
So if a person were good at painting or drawing,
yeah.
he or she might.
Oh, absolutely.
So one of the qualities you need is the face is like a canvas or
Yeah,
a paper.
absolutely.
So you have to have an eye.
You have to have
for-
an eye. You have to fit in, but you can develop it. You can definitely develop it as time goes on.
How would you develop that?
By doing makeup, by keep doing it, by practicing it a lot.
Are there schools to go to?
Oh, yes, there's many schools.
Theatrical makeup schools?
Many of them.
Okay.
A lot of them are out in California. You can buy, there's a magazine, Entertainment Digest, I believe. In that magazine, it's got a list of schools. You know, New York don't have them too much. Like I said, I teach a little, but not too much. New York don't have them for the main reason is most of the kids that come in, they don't have $1 million to spend.
To spend on the schools?
Not the school. I don't charge $1 million. It's the hotels.
Oh, whoa.
Where do you live?
Oh, where do you live in New York?
If they don't have a friend living here, it becomes very difficult.
So many of the schools are in other cities around the country. So maybe a person would consider going to another city to get some training in one of these schools.
That's right.
Do you need a college degree?
I didn't have one.
So it's not necessary to go to college.
It's necessary. It's what you got in your hands while you know, are you artistic? Are you inclined that way? Or are you better off an automobile mechanic?
So it is interesting or important to be artistic.
I think it helps. I think it helps. You know, like I said, I've done every kind of a makeup going. I'm not particularly artistic, but I can get through the job. I can do it, and I can do it well. You know? Now there's other people come along and do the same job, and it'd be spectacular. You know? It's not that I'm putting myself down. I'm just trying so these kids know the difference. So,
right.
You know what I'm saying? But now when it comes to wigs, that's another ballgame.
Why? Tell me about the wigs.
Well, we're experts at wigs.
Oh, okay.
We've had a lot of practice in them, you know.
Now, her face looks good to me.
Okay.
Is a wig going to go on here shortly?
I think it looks beautiful.
About another 5.
Oh, another 5 minutes we're going to have wigs.
Yeah, okay.
How do you take care of these wigs? I mean, do you have to wash them?
Yeah, when they come back, we're supposed to shampoo them, put them in, you know, regular shampoo and in a sink and shampoo them all like.
Every day you shampoo them?
No.
I mean, for the theater?
If they come back and they've been out on a rental for any length of time, we have to take them back and clean them.
How often is like sending your hair to the dry cleaner?
Well, sort of like that. Otherwise, you can't put a bunch of wigs in a drawer with a lot of perspiration and everything in it, because it'd get pretty raunchy after a while. So we more or less shampoo as if you're going to a barber.
Right. And then you don't have to color the wigs. They're already colored.
The wigs are wigs.
What kind of hair? What animal?
For instance, this wig here.
What do you have here? You have, what animal is that?
No,
or is it a
human,
person?
No, this is human
That's
hair.
human hair?
Yeah, absolutely.
I thought it was like yak hair or something
No,
that was used.
no, this is human hair. But this was already curled and everything. If this went out on a rental and came back, we would have to put it back into the same shape as it is. Shampoo it good, put a conditioner on it, put it in a plastic bag, and put it away.
And curl it up.
Yeah,
it's like marceled there.
Yeah.
Would you use tongs or something? How do you get that?
That's a spiral wave.
Ah.
You do it with rollers around a stick. You wrap them around.
Is this a man's wig?
Yeah, this is a man's wig. Yeah.
Would you like to put it on for us?
Yeah, if you want me to.
Yeah. What have you got here? Show us what you've got.
All right. Okay. This is
for men.
Well, yeah, that's another one. I'll put that one on too. This one here.
Yes.
Is going to be a biker.
A biker? Going to turn you into a biker.
Turn myself into a biker.
Is that human hair as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, human hair. I put this on with an elastic. For you kids out there,
yes,
going to learn makeup, this would be put on with what they call spirit gum, a glue.
Oh.
But I'm just not doing that right now. Just showing.
And a little elastic on the top that holds it up.
No.
Okay.
Take the wig this way, here. You put your head right into that piece of lace.
Okay.
Pull it over your head. I can't see myself here, but I guess it's okay.
Route 66, huh? You're ready for your your bike.
Every biker has to have a mustache.
So you're going to put a mustache on your mustache.
As a matter of fact, I have a commercial on television, a biker, and he sits on the bike and the beard blows over his face. Just recently. I don't know what country it's shown in. But
well, is this sort of fun? I mean, for you to do?
For me, it is. I enjoy it.
Do you have a good time doing this?
Yeah, I enjoy it.
It's a little like playing, isn't it?
Yeah. Now to make it official.
Yes.
A genuine biker.
Uh-oh.
You roll up your arms.
Uh-oh. And you've got now. Have you painted those on, or that's the real thing?
There you've got your tattoos that goes with it. No, they're 1941 version of World War II.
You've got the real stuff on from the Army. But you could, I guess, if you were doing, would that be part of your job, to put tattoos on people?
Oh, yeah, definitely. But today, you don't have to do it with ball pens and ink and stuff like that. There's a company called Temp2 Tattooing,
Okay.
and they sell these plastic tattoos for the whole body. You see, and if you were doing a movie, you need a special design for it, they would design them for the whole body, to go around the body.
Now, what about a hairy body? Say you're designing clothes that have hair on them. Does that fall under
Shave.
the costume? No, that you meant.
Shave, if you got a hairy body, you can't put the tattoos on. Oh, no. Yeah, now, I'll show you the difference. Let me show you the
Well,
difference.
there's that too. I was thinking, what if you were hairy like in The Beast, in Beauty and the Beast? I was wondering, does that fall under costume designer, or is
Wig
that
maker.
wig maker?
I make his chest.
You make the chest.
I make his chest. I make the chest.
You make the hair
I make
all
the
anywhere
wings,
that
I
it's
make-
going to be on anybody, falls under.
Armpits, any place you want, we make hair for
You make hair?
Stick hair on anything you want. Okay, enough of that.
Enough of that. Let's take that up.
Now,
The
let me-
biker's going.
Put the other one on.
Okay.
Ooh,
So these things last for how long, these
Oh,
wigs?
for years. and
Years. It's
and
not that you
years.
need to, well, if they're
You
so
replace-
expensive,
you
I
have
had
to
no
replace
idea.
maybe the lace front on it, you know.
I see.
And that's not too expensive. Now this one here, if anyone's seen Fiddler on a Roof, you might think this is interesting.
Aha. So now we're doing,
But just to show you potential makeup artists what you can do.
right. Now, can you be a makeup artist without being a wig maker, or they're always tied
no,
together?
No, not at all.
You could be one or the other,
Usually that's the way it works.
but you do both.
I started off making wigs.
I see. I see. So you're.
I started off making wigs because my grandfather used to make wigs in 1895, 1900, until he died in 1938 in Brooklyn, when that was the theater district.
I see. So for the theater always.
There
That it looks right. Tevye. There you are.
Isn't that believable?
Is it comfortable to wear?
To me, it feels natural.
Does it feel all right? It looks natural, as a matter of fact.
It's supposed to.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
supposed to. Yeah, it got the
Well,
whole
you
thing.
have to know, as you say, the designer gives you some clues, but you have to know how to physically put this thing together to create the look.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's called hairdressing.
That's called it. So a
And
hairdresser.
you have to know how to put the hair into a wig
Yes.
to get the particular design. For instance, this one is ventilated forward. The other one I had on was going back.
I see.
You know, so it's just a question
And you
of
have
direction.
to know how to do that. Now, everybody today seems to be wearing microphones somewhere on their head on the stage.
Okay. Kirsten, do you have a mic pack?
We don't have one, actually.
Oh,
Huh?
okay.
No, we don't have
Oh,
an
okay.
example of that. But
But I mean, you know, I usually see them sticking here. You have to take
I-
that into consideration when you're designing and making the wig, don't you?
Yes. We have, well, my glasses. You have that brown wig over there, Kirsten?
Mm-hmm.
Let me show her the wig.
You want to give us the brown wig. These are all going to go on Amy shortly.
Okay, now, in this wig,
Yes.
this looks very big, right?
Yes,
Because
it
in
does.
the back here,
Right.
there's a big pocket
Ah, for
in the back, all right? And we take, let me just
the
borrow
battery.
this a
Yeah,
second.
you
We
put
take
the
a pack.
right.
We make a battery pack
Pack.
out of canvas and stuff like that.
I see.
And that fits right in the back of it. We stitch it in. And then we put the mic pack in it,
I see.
okay?
Are most people wearing
And it's very difficult
mics
to
these
style.
days?
Yeah, please, they're a pain in the nose. And because what happens is when you get it back here, now you got to curl the wig and make the wig work so this mic pack don't show, you know?
And it's a big lump
It-
sometimes.
It can be a big lump. It's very tricky. 42nd Street, everybody has mic packs on the back of the neck, and it's an impossible situation.
And they have to dance, so you have to make sure the wig doesn't go flying off the
That's
side of the head.
As a makeup artist or as a hairdresser doing a particular show, this wig is all put down with what we call spirit gum, that whole lace front. We're not doing it on her right now. The whole lace front is put down with spirit gum, and
It's got to be tight when they're dancing and flinging each other
yeah, well,
around.
what's going to happen is Kirsten's going to put a cap on her head,
Right.
right, and show you that cap goes over the head. And then it's on tight. You put the wig on and you pin into that cap.
Have
you
you
glue
ever
the
had a
front
wig?
down, pin into the cap. Have you ever had a wig fall off?
Yes.
It has happened. It has happened.
Well, what, I just got a little lopsided or fell on the floor?
No, I remember once I was working in the opera and the tenor was singing in Carmen, and he bent over, and the toupee he had on the whole thing flipped
Fell forward.
over the side. You know, silly things happen, but mostly the wigs don't really fall off.
Now, you also have to make prosthesis, things, warts and
Yes.
noses and lumps.
Sometimes. Now that's
on
another
faces.
department.
Okay.
For
Is
you
that
ki-
makeup? That's not makeup.
That is makeup. If your kids are interested in that comes under prosthetics.
Yes.
Okay, and it's a long drawn out course. It takes a lot of time to learn it. It's not an easy thing. It's a lot of casting and molding and cooking things in ovens and all. For instance, the Beauty and the Beast, the horns are made by a prosthetic guy.
I see.
You see?
And but he falls under the category of makeup, but he does.
Oh, he's makeup, but he
makeup.
does prosthetics. Yeah.
I see.
Movies like what, Dick Tracy or, you know,
Right.
all these, was a Nutty Professor. What was that black guy that his big body was?
Oh, he had to get. He got bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
forgot. That whole thing, that was all prosthetics.
Yes.
Foam rubber, not latex. It was foam. It's a special thing. It's almost like a complete business all by itself.
I see.
You know what I mean? And that takes quite a while to learn. Now, if
Where
you want,
would you study a thing like that, if one were interested? I mean, are there schools for that? You say you have to have an oven?
You have to have, yeah, lots of things. Plus, there's a lot of sculpting. You got to be very good at sculpting.
Oh,
You know, schools again. There are schools for it, but you got to get it out of the entertainment magazine.
Okay.
They would be mostly in California.
If you wanted to work in a beauty salon, would that be a place for somebody to start?
Well, if it's going to be a hairdresser, it'll give them experience in doing hair.
Yes, I was wondering how else you would get experience.
Well, you've got to have a little bit of experience. You have to know how to dress hair.
Do you need a license?
Yes, you definitely do.
And how do you go about getting a license?
Well, in the state you're living in, you go to the hairdress cosmetology board and you put in to get a license.
Okay.
And
Does the
then when you come to New York, I think they give you so much credit for it because it requires so many hours to become a hairdresser. Maybe, say in New York it's 15. Say in New York it's no. Say where they came from, it's 1,500, but in New York it's 2,000. They have to make up the extra hours to get the license here.
Does this department have an apprentice program, the cosmetology?
No, not really.
So in
No,
order to get the
because
license, you would have already had to have been working or gone to a
you could've-
beautician school?
You
or?
come out of a beautician school and you
Okay,
can get your
so-
license. Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you could go to just a beautician school,
Oh, yeah.
get your license.
Absolutely.
Why do you need a license? Anyway.
I don't know. I lost mine 50 years ago.
Is it, I mean, because you're touching people? Is there something about touching people that requires a license?
I think it's just unions get cockamamie ideas, and, you know, they stick it in there.
Okay, so you get the license.
They made it more complicated to get into unions today.
Are you in a
than years
union?
ago.
Is there a
Yeah, I'm in it, yes.
So you get a license, but that's different than the union.
That has nothing to do with the union.
So first you get the
license
license.
is to work in hairdressing parlors, beauty parlors, right?
Right.
But if you want to get into the union, a requirement is you have that license.
Okay. So after you get the license, you then need to get in the union.
Then you have to get into the union.
Does the union have an apprentice program or any?
They have in New York, they have a class they teach.
Oh,
They do teach for a certain fee. I don't know what the fee is, you know.
okay. So you could go to that, to the union. What union is it?
Local 798, the IATSE.
Okay.
Local 798.
And is there then, they have the pay scale? What is the pay
What is
scale?
the pay scale?
About,
Pay,
I mean.
pay scales vary so much, you know. I mean, some people can go out and make $800 a day. Others people can go out and get $200 a day, and someone else can go out and get 3,000 for the day.
Well, so it's somewhere between 200 and 3,000
Yeah, and I know
That's pretty
guys
good.
that make 10,000.
a day.
No, a week.
Oh, a week. Still a lot.
Not a day.
Still some makeup.
A week.
A week. Well, that's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can actually make a pretty good living.
Yeah, what how is it? Of course, it isn't, the union is, what is it a day, the pay scale for make television? Isn't it 200?
I think that's negotiated.
Okay. Well, it's somewhere between.
Differently. So
Yeah.
it's,
I think
200.
basically on Saturday Night Live it's about 200 a day.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
that's good though.
Yeah.
Well, where else would you go to learn apprentice? Is there something where you could go to the theater and trail somebody or follow somebody who is working?
Not really.
Okay.
Not really. They all kind of work like as individuals. You know what I mean? Like for instance, Juilliard, they have internships.
Okay, so that's a good place to go.
Well, you know that they
Right.
can only take so many, but
Yeah,
they
I mean, it's
you know,
places to ask.
And Lincoln Center, they might take interns there too.
What's happening to her hair now?
Okay, she is now pinning it up in the back,
Pinning it
and she's going to put a net over the top of it.
to hold her
To-
own hair
yeah,
down,
that- to hold
presumably.
hold the hair down so we can pin the wig into it like we were discussing before.
Yeah. Well, a person that works on another human being has to have certain personality qualities, doesn't he or she? I mean, it's because it's an intimate relationship.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a lot of times people just don't get along on shows.
Right.
You'll get someone work the show and they practically can't stand each other. You know. And then,
So, what are the qualities of the personality that
there's no answering what the qualities are. You just got to meet the person, start working with them to find out what the qualities are. Right?
Well, some people probably like to have their own makeup person and say, "Oh, I like this person so much,"
Well, then they request them.
and they can request
They
who,
can
like a
request it.
star could
Yeah.
request
Yes. Yeah,
whatever
sure.
makeup person they want.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you tell when a person arrives whether they're going to have those qualities to make a good or successful makeup artist?
Sometimes.
What would make you think that this person
Oh, yeah.
has it?
Well, sometimes you'll teach somebody and they just don't get it.
Ah,
No matter how much you try to make them get it, it's like teaching them to be an actress or anything else, you know.
so it's a talent that people seem to have, or an
It's a
instinct.
personality or a feeling about themselves, you know what I mean?
A feeling about themselves
How
that
do you feel about yourself? You feel good about yourself, you're going to be good. You're going to get along with everybody. Everything will work.
Okay, so you have to have a disposition that's serene,
Sort of.
and you've got to get along with people.
Well, of course you do. In any public thing like that, you have to get along with people. I mean, I've worked with people for years. I don't have no particular special personality that makes me great or anything, but I work with some
Well,
of the
it must be if they're
biggest
letting
people.
you touch them.
Yeah,
It
we become
seems to me
friends.
that so part of it is becoming friends.
You sort of become friends as you do it. For instance, I worked with Ralph Bellamy for years on a show called Man Against Crime, and we were the best of friends. We got along great. I was with Sergeant Bilko, Phil Silvers, for years, and we were the best of friends, you know. Don't ask me what it is, it just it works that way.
Now what's happening here? How's she?
we're just finishing pinning
Do you
it.
want to tell us a little bit about how you were doing this?
Well,
Here's
the
some-
object is to make the hair as flat as possible to the head, and then you have a better fit with the wig. Most of the wigs that Bob makes are custom fitted, so they fit perfectly to the head form of whoever is the actor. And Amy, we have a couple wigs. We're going to start with a blonde.
What is that, a
And
stocking?
this is a wig cap, and
Oh.
what
That's
this
what
does
holds
is
the
that.
wig on.
But it looks
Pin
like,
into it.
you know,
Sorry. Yeah, just grab it.
a nylon stocking. Or
Well, basically it is, with a nice tight elastic. Basically this just holds the hair in place.
Now, does it get very hot under there?
Well, we should ask Amy.
Amy, well, I mean, I was wondering
In a
if
few
on
moments.
stage, if a person were on stage moving around, they'd be perspiring and they'd be getting, you'd think, you'd get
Oh, sure,
maybe
it's gonna be
hot
hot.
under the
Exactly.
wig.
Yeah,
it's
it's
gonna be
warm,
hot.
but you know, I don't think it's.
Do
you know,
most
everybody has
actors
different
wear
comfort.
wigs even if they don't need to? I mean, they don't need to look different, but do they wear wigs on stage?
Well,
Not unless the character calls for it.
Okay,
Yeah.
they don't
You know,
need to. Because I thought
unless
maybe
they-
every night you'd look the same if you had the wig. Otherwise, you have the problem that every night you look a little different.
Yeah, yeah.
well, that's what's nice about a wig is that you can keep it really consistent.
So you would look the same night after
exactly.
night. I mean, you could have a
Ladies now that are wearing wigs all the time.
You have no
like
time for
Cher
bed
always
hair
wears
day.
a wig.
Cher always wears
Gwen
a wig.
Stefani, of no doubt, wears wigs. J-Lo, Jennifer Lopez.
Right. They all wear wigs.
Everybody's got wigs, yeah.
At any public appearance, you mean, as well as certainly
Cher?
on any stage.
Exactly.
Well, Cher and
She
Jennifer
wears it
Lopez
every
and
place. She's always wearing
Sophia
wigs.
Loren, they tell me, wears a wig, wears wigs all the
Yeah.
time.
Did you ever meet Sophia?
Yeah.
She was a gorgeous
The
looking
wigs look great.
Yeah, exactly.
All
They
that
can
hair.
Well, exactly.
It's hard to maintain all that hair. all that
I did a
done.
movie with her years ago, and I can't remember the damn movie even. What the hell was that?
So now you have to pin the cap on as well,
Exactly. This just helps
so
to
it doesn't
secure it.
slide right off your head and
Exactly.
have a disaster in the middle of
Yeah,
the
we try to avoid that.
dramatic scene when your hair falls off. Is it uncomfortable, Amy?
No.
No, okay,
It's
good.
not tight. It fits snugly enough where my hair isn't going to move.
Yes, I would imagine that people would always be reaching up to be sure it wasn't moving, the wig, to be sure it was in time, particularly if you have to dance. I mean, if there's a dance number.
Believe me, they anchor them, please. They are
They anchor
down.
them. Or in a musical like Contact, where they're upside down and being flipped around.
I love that show.
What was it? But how do they keep the wigs on when they're
I
flying?
don't know, but that one girl that's in the commercial, she's being flipped every
Flipped
night.
every night. How do they? Or in Swing, where
I
they
don't know,
have
maybe
to.
she don't have a wig. I don't
Well,
know.
that's a possibility. But I think in Swing they had wigs, and they're
Yeah.
flying around like trapeze artists.
This is your answer right here.
This is the secret.
That's what
This and a lot of glue, probably.
Glue.
that's what the kids have to learn.
Right.
That's exactly what they have to learn.
how to put this on, and then how to construct
Doing
the
this is not
hair.
to show how to make wigs, it's to show them what they have to learn.
Right. Okay. Now we're going to change her personality by putting different color and different wigs on, I guess.
Amy, can I do that
Absolutely.
just a little?
Absolutely.
So, your hair is really important. I mean, to a character.
Extremely. Extremely.
What does it tell about characters?
Huh?
What would it tell? What?
Well, it completely changes you. It puts you into the character you're going to be. Just like Saturday Night Live. Look how many wigs did we make for that? And they're always different.
They're always different
always
people.
different, yeah.
So now,
So normally,
yipes! You are different.
Hey, baby.
It looks like the girl in the yellow dress. Now,
exactly.
in Contact.
Normally for a show like Contact or something, you'd probably
No,
want to use
no.
spirit gum.
That
But,
lace-
today we're just using Top Stick, which is double-sided tape.
Top stick. Top stick is also
It's
used
very-
for mustaches,
Yeah.
isn't
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's very
Now, we
glamorous.
ordinarily would spirit gum that whole front down,
it? Right.
right? So it won't fall off so
And the
fast.
spirit gum doesn't bubble up and show like gluey.
No?
No. Unless your
yucky
makeup
stuff.
artist screws it up.
What is spirit gum? Is it from a tree?
It's a glue. It's a rosin and a glue. It's from a tree.
From a tree, I
Yeah.
thought. I just had that vague impression. So now you glue the whole thing carefully down
Yeah.
Smile.
to the skin, right? Directly onto the skin. And those little patches, I guess, don't show on stage, but they would in real life.
Yeah, but we're not concerned with real life.
No, the theater is not real life. So, but on the stage, you wouldn't see it at all.
On a stage, it's
And the
invisible.
microphone pack
Even
would be
here you don't
somewhere in the
see it.
back. No, here
Even
you don't
here
see
you
it.
don't
On television, you wouldn't see it. You'd have to be really close up to see it. Now, I heard that one time women would tie up the skin of their face in little
Not.
knots. Did you hear about that? Describe that.
In a little while?
Little curls under the wig to pull the skin up.
This is before the advent of plastic
Yeah.
surgery.
Before plastic surgery. Have you ever had to stretch a face up under the wig?
Yeah, but we don't do that. We use lifts. We make rubber lifts.
And this is part of your job, to lift up the face
Well,
underneath?
if you have to, if you're
Yeah.
doing a movie or something, then they, he'll do that. He'll make what they call a rubber lift.
I mean, if a person's face is folding down a little, so, or I mean, it could be a
like
man too.
under the chin, you take a piece of lace like this and you make a little round thing. You hook a rubber band on it, right? And then you glue it over here on the face.
And you can pull up the face.
And you pull the face up.
And then you tighten up all the face, and then you put the
Or
hair
you
on
pull
top.
it this way, or you put it around the back and pull them that way,
Probably
depending on
costs
where
a
the
lot
wrinkles.
less than plastic surgery, you know.
Never dragged out. They always pop when you're doing a
Oh, no.
final love scene or something.
Oh, and part of your face falls down. This could be
Something
terrible.
like
This could not be good. Now, this is a lot of work that's going on. It's very
Yeah.
time-consuming.
See, now look at that close-up.
Yes, she certainly does look like a different person.
That's good.
It has a different.
All right, we'll get the
Character.
next one on now, okay?
No, this is yes. Go ahead with the next one. But this is a lot of work and is taking a lot of time. Who does this in the theater?
Hairdressers.
So you hire the hairdresser? Do you hire the hairdresser?
Usually the hairdresser is hired. The guy that's in charge of the show, he's a hairdresser himself, but they call themselves hair designers. He will hire the hairdressers for that particular show.
And how many hairdressers would there be on, say, a big musical?
42nd Street, they might have 12, 13 of them.
13.
Beauty and the Beast has at least 8 or something, you know, quite a few.
So you could have a dozen people, extra people, in the backstage,
it's a big job.
just putting these things on.
Big job. And these wigs, you know, maybe you wear that a couple of nights, you might have to restyle it again. After the show is over, the girls have to style the wigs, or the boys, whoever they are, has to style a wig
Every
for
night.
the next day's performance.
So they do that after the show is over?
Sometimes they do it after. Sometimes they come in early, you know.
Okay. And is there a special place backstage to do that?
Oh, yeah, they got big dressing rooms.
Okay. Just for the wigs,
Yeah, absolutely.
where they have to dress the wigs, so to speak.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how big
It's
the
big.
dressing room could be from here to that wall to that wall.
So it'd be a
And
large...
over to this one here.
Right,
you
so
know.
it'd be a large space that they
Be
need
a
to
large
have.
space. You know, you got 200 wigs. That's
Well, then these hairdressers have to be very careful they don't get the wrong wig on the wrong person.
Oh, they're all marked.
They're marked, so
Yeah,
they
they're
have
all
labels
marked,
on
yeah.
them. And then the actor comes to that room and gets the wig put on, or does
Well,
the
some of them have it
hairdresser
done
go
in
to
their
the...
room. Some have it done in their
Well, now you
room.
look very sophisticated, right? You've got the very, very sophisticated look. And,
Isn't she
and she's a
gorgeous?
redhead now.
But
That looks striking.
So that would have to be worked on every night, a wig like that, to keep
yeah,
those
exactly.
curls.
I'd have to be,
Exactly.
yes,
Just to
you might be
smooth it
wearing a
out.
hat on it
Right.
and pull it off. It looks real good, though.
It
the
looks
wonderful
very
thing
good.
about,
The sophisticated lady. Eh?
How long does it take to make one of these wigs?
3 days.
Okay.
You want to hear something?
Yeah.
We do Saturday Night Live, right? We start at Thursday afternoon. And by Saturday morning, we might have to make 6 wigs like that. I have a lot of lovely women working for me. They take them home at night.
And work on them in their homes
Yeah, they
to
have their
finish them.
daughters working on their kids, mostly all Oriental women.
Huh.
And they don't know the meaning of not work.
Right.
You believe me.
The work ethic.
Complete. You know, it's tremendous. And I wouldn't be as successful without them. No way.
Are women better at this than men?
Oh, mostly, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Because of a...
I've had very, very few men actually making wigs.
Really?
Yeah, I've had men working for me. But no, it's who wants to sit down with a needle all day long and keep going like this for 1,000 hours? You know, it's kind of nerve-wracking. I know. I did it years ago.
When you do the makeup for someone, do you teach the actor how to do
Yes.
it and then he does it?
Yeah, sometimes we'll bring a makeup artist in at the beginning of the show, maybe the first couple of weeks during the dress rehearsals, and he will teach all the actresses and actors what they have to do to make themselves up, because they couldn't possibly afford to bring a makeup artist in every night. You know, that wouldn't work at all. Occasionally for the star, they'll bring a makeup artist in, but most of the time, not.
They're told this is what to do, and then they...
I mean, I've been brought in on shows a couple of times. One with George Scott, another one with Anthony Quinn, where they wanted me to be at the show every night, you know. But that's very unusual. E.G. Marshall, a few people, you know, very unusual.
Are men easier to make up and do their wigs than women as clients? I mean,
Depends on the man.
oh, really? Okay. So it's not a gender thing.
No.
It's just
Depends on
a
the man.
personality thing.
Yeah,
Aren't
really.
some people very difficult? They don't like the wig, they don't like the makeup. Aren't
They
they
don't even
difficult?
like the soup they get for lunch. The hell, you should have.
Well, aren't there some
deal with that.
temperaments? Don't you have to deal with?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So you have to have a personality that just ignores people's behavior, or you're a calming influence? Because people backstage
you do
are
what
nervous.
you're paid to do.
But I know, but the actors are nervous and they're frightened and they're learning their lines, or they think something went wrong or a scene didn't go well.
Most of them are good. Usually there's no problems with them. I've never had, you know, and I've certainly worked with thousands of them, you know, never had problems.
What do you like best about?
About what?
What do you like best about makeup and wig making? What do you like about
Well, it gives
this?
me an independence. It provides me with a good living for my family and for myself, and I've never felt like I worked all my life. How's that sound?
It sounds good. It was like play. Does it seem a little like play?
Yeah, absolutely.
And do you,
Absolutely.
do you
It's serious. You have your serious times, but I've always took it on the light side. You know, I've enjoyed it. And when you enjoy it, you know.
would you enjoy working more in a theater than, say, in a beauty salon?
A beauty salon, yuck.
I guess that means yes.
No, I couldn't tolerate
You couldn't tolerate all the women coming in to have their head. No,
please, no.
no. Well, what is it about the theater then? What is it about this that you like as opposed to working in a salon?
Well, it's creative. You like that, you know. And I enjoy people, so I enjoy all the actors and actresses I work with. It's never been a problem, and it's a freedom. It's not like working for somebody. I'm working for myself. Maybe that. And I tell you something. I've had people working for me 40 years. Nobody ever quits.
Oh,
How about that for a record, huh?
that is.
40 years, 30 years, 37 years, and they're still working for me.
So it must be fun, or you get some satisfaction. Is it because you go there and you see your work up on the stage? Is that a satisfaction?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Do you feel part of the theater production?
I am part of the theater
You
production.
are part of it, so that you
Yeah.
get the same feeling that all the other people do. The
Absolutely.
show business.
Absolutely.
You have to have show business in your blood?
You know, you pretty well might say that, because my grandfather made wigs for the theaters in Brooklyn, for Tony Passes and all that, and that was a long time ago. So you might say a little bit of it in my blood. Huh?
What pays more, making wigs or doing makeup? What's the difference in the pay scale? Or is it the same?
Well, if you're making wigs, you own a company.
Ah,
You know, I have 15 people working for me up there.
I see.
So
And how much can a makeup artist earn?
makeup artists? Sure, they can earn 200,000, 100,000, any amount.
So it's a very high-paying job.
It can be, very definitely.
A makeup artist on a show, would he or she do many people, or the whole show, or just one or two people?
Depends. My daughter Barbara works a show for Katie Couric. She does that show. She makes up Katie, but she also makes up other people on the show, you know. But
So you might be hired to do, if it's a theater, you might be hired to do the whole cast
makeup?
as a makeup?
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to. You wouldn't be able
No,
to.
you wouldn't. So
There's not enough time. People come in late and leave her. Oh, there she is
Look,
again.
what's happened to her? We have a whole new look. Well, describe a little this wig.
Describe it?
Yes, I mean, what is the style, and what was the character about, or why did you choose this?
Wasn't
wig?
about particularly anything. We just wanted to get you a variety of different wigs, but she could certainly play in Carmen right now.
Carmen,
She
okay.
could be Carmen. Yada, yada,
And
bum, bum, bum,
it's the
bum.
Spanish influence
Yeah,
in here.
could be. Matter of fact, she even looks a little Spanish with that wig
Yes,
on. See
yes.
your face changes with the different type things you put on, you know.
Do you take into consideration a person's skin color when you choose the hair? Does that have to be?
Sometimes. But usually the designer wants what hair he wants, and that's, well, I'll tell you a very funny story about that. I was doing wigs for a show. Katharine Hepburn was up in Stratford, and she had red hair. And guess what the designer picked for the other girls? She picked red hair for some of the other girls, too.
Oh.
So she come charging up to my shop, threatening me with bodily harm if I made a wig with red hair.
For anybody else?
Oh. Had to leave that alone.
What is the salary of a Broadway hairdresser?
Who?
Of a Broadway hairdresser, the salary?
About $1,000 a week.
Okay.
I mean, some of them make more. Depends on the overtime they put in on it and all like that. But basically, I think it's around 1,000.
Okay, so I mean that's a good.
Huh?
That's a good salary.
Today, nothing's a good salary.
Nothing.
The taxes come out. After taxes,
I
what's
forgot
left?
the taxes. The pleasure. It must be the pleasure of your craft.
It has to be.
Have you? You say you've taught many people.
What,
you?
makeup?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And wig making. You teach how to. If a
I've
person
taught people wig making, too.
if a person would like to study with you, how would they go about it?
Call me up.
Oh, they just look you up in the phone book and say, I want.
Yeah, it's in New York, Bob Kelly Wig Creations. All they have to do is call me up. If they just want to talk, they don't have to go to school to talk.
Right.
You know, be glad to talk to them.
Are most people in your business that open and willing to talk to students and young people who might want to go into the business?
I don't know. I don't know about most people. I know how I am. But I know one thing, years ago when I first went into the business, it was like pulling teeth trying to learn anything. Nobody wanted to teach you.
Yes.
You know, it was a different ballgame. Everybody's afraid, wait, I'm going to lose my job if I teach this guy. You know, it's a completely different ballgame.
But now that's not the case?
Well, like I say, with me it's not. I try to help anyone I can, you know.
Right.
But a lot of people wouldn't teach. You know, many of them wouldn't, you know. What these kids have to do if they want to learn something like that, if they're in their own towns, what they got to do is go find a theater company. All these little towns have theater companies, right? Go to the theater company. Tell them you do makeup, even if you don't. And, you know, if you know a little bit about it, you know what I mean? Bluff your way into it, and chances are that you'll get a job from one of the theater houses to get you started into what you're doing. And you learn from the actors also, right?
Oh.
Theater houses, and then a lot of times Broadway shows they travel all over the country, off-Broadway shows. Sometimes they hire people in these little towns. What they're doing their shows in. They don't carry a full complement of people, and they need extra help. So they'll take somebody from some local person from the town. You know, that's another way you can get into it, right? Then you go around and look at a phone book, go to fashion photographers, and, you know, model agencies, and all this stuff, you know, where they would be using makeup. You go for it. You got to be pushy. You got to knock on doors. You know, there's not too much to tell you about how to do it or how to get in, but you got to knock on a lot of doors. Same as if you come to New York, same thing. Model agencies here, there, you know, and then all of a sudden you hit somebody that you got a rapport with, and they try you on one thing, and next thing you know, they'll call you back for something else. You know, it's the way it goes.
Did you always want to do this?
No, not really. It just happened.
It just happened.
Yeah. I won't say what happened, but it happened.
Okay. No, because some people know that they know they want to do this sort of work.
Listen, when I come out of the Army, I worked for Standard Oil for years, couple of years, a year or two, right? And then I quit it. I didn't want to do it. So I looked in the paper for a job, right? Couldn't find one. And all of a sudden I seen somebody looking for an apprentice wig maker. And I said, gee, why don't I try it? Here I am, right?
Okay, so a person...
That's the same thing for these kids, right?
Right.
You
so
try.
a person could be doing something else, and it's not too late or impossible to become a wig maker. But
I started when I was 28.
Okay.
I'm not exactly a spring chicken at that point.
Well, no, but right.
Well, I started, you know.
So it's you can just try it and see if you have the hands for it, I suppose. And
yeah, kind of something like that, you know. As it turned out, I was lucky because the guy I worked for, a guy named Ira Sens, he did makeup, and I was in the Metropolitan Opera doing makeup for him. I learned how to do it there. You know, not that I was that great, but all of a sudden I got a call from the Ed Sullivan Show. Somebody heard I was great, and I really wasn't. And that's what started me off in television. Toast of the Town, the original Ed Sullivan Show.
I think our models are finished. Thank you so much, Amy.
Are we finished?
Kirsten. You look
Kirsten?
like yourself again. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Do you learn a lot from the actors themselves when you make them up? Do they tell
Sometimes.
you what they need and want?
Sometimes. For instance, Hal Holbrook. Now, we were talking about different type makeups before. When he did Mark Twain originally, right? I used to work when he had a crummy wig, a blend wig, not a lace wig or nothing like that. And he used to make himself up. And, hideous, the whole thing was hideous, right? And all of a sudden, he got tied up with Dick Smith. Did you ever hear of him? Very famous makeup artist, one of the most famous.
Okay.
And he is into prosthetics, right? And he developed the whole face for Hal Holbrook for Mark Twain, and he designed the wig and everything. I made the wig, but Dick did all the prosthetics and all the pieces that he needed, right? So there's, you know, different ways, different things you learned, you know.
And your children have gone in, you said, to the same business? So is it sometimes follow the careers?
I have a factory out in Tucson, Arizona. I manufacture cosmetics for the theater, and they work out there.
I see.
They work in the theater. My daughter Barbara, she works with Katie Couric, and my daughter Tracy used to do Ryan's Hope and different shows.
Do the people that do theatrical makeup, do they often come from families that were in the theater?
Yes. A lot of them come, their fathers were makeup artists. And they got it, well, just like the actors. It's the same thing. Right?
Right.
It's happening now. What is that famous one his son is now doing? I forgot his name.
Well, no, many people do follow.
Did
but
that World War II picture.
Well, I don't know, but so there are very often family lines doing this.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Where else do they come from? Would they have been former dancers or?
They came from a high school in Oshkosh or someplace. Or was in the theater in school, and they've learned makeup along with learning how to dance and do everything else. You know.
But what sort of person do you think is attracted to this profession?
How do you say? What is the word? Overt. Show-offs.
Show-offs.
That sound?
Show-offs?
Yeah.
Well, describe a day.
An outgoing person.
Describe a day for me. How would one of your days go?
Mine?
Yes. Or a hairdresser's day,
Well,
a theatrical hairdresser.
I'd start off with Seinfeld.
Watching? You mean staying home watching television? No,
Yeah.
I meant when you. What time would you arrive at the theater, for example? If you're a
If I was
hairdresser?
going to a
Or
theater?
makeup, yes.
Oh, you'd arrive to the theater about an hour before the show, you know. And you only have, maybe an hour and a half, but you only have time to do a few people. You wouldn't have time to do too many people.
Right.
You know.
And would you leave once the makeup was done or the wigs were on, or do you stay and
No,
watch?
you stay right through the show. Once you're hired for that show, you stay through it. Okay. You leave at the end of the show. As you said before, maybe the wig fell off. Something happened.
Right.
And many times you have changes to do on set. You know, it isn't all, she wears the same wig all the way through it. You might have 2 or 3 changes.
Right. Or a person might be young in one act and
older
old
in
in the
another one,
next. Don't you have to
whatever,
be there
yeah.
to change the age and so on?
What was that show? Rapunzel, climb up my hair, had the chimney sweeps and that.
Into the woods, or
Into
into the woods? One of
I'm
those.
beginning to forget
Yes,
my old
yes,
age.
yes,
Into
yes.
the woods, right?
Yeah, right.
The changes that she had in that show. Right? She was gorgeous, then all of a sudden she's a chimney sweeps and all dirty, and then that comes off, she's got to be something else again, you know. So there's always some kind of a change that has to be made. Maybe they have to have blood put on them, dirt put on them, you know.
You're
Whatever.
carrying blood and dirt with you in your little.
Everything
You have a
with
little
you.
box. You carry everything.
Yeah, when you get set up, you know pretty much what you need, and you have it there, you know.
But do you design any of that yourself, or do you?
Do what?
Of the blood and the dirt, Or, I mean, how
I
do
manufacture it.
you manufacture the blood and the
Yeah.
dirt? Even people call up and say, send me some dirt.
Well, no, I sell it here in New York. I have
Right.
up
Makeup.
on 46th Street. I
Right.
sell makeup there, but it's
Right.
manufactured in California. So I have like a store.
So, I mean,
regular
a
store.
person then can start as a hairdresser or makeup artist and go from there and build into almost anything, any kind of business, as well as
Well,
if they wish.
if they want to and they want to go into it, you know,
Right.
but it takes a lot
a lot of what?
to manufacture cosmetics.
Oh, it takes a lot of money or a lot of time, or a lot of skill.
It takes cosmetic chemists. It takes money. It takes machinery. It takes a lot. Once you have a chemist, he sets your formulas for you, and then you manufacture the products.
And the wigs, I mean, you make those yourself.
I make
though.
them right here in New York. Like I
You
said.
don't make them backstage. You make
No,
them.
no, they're made right in my shop. I have about, like I told you, I have about 15 people making them up there, you know. And we go pretty much full time on it.
What's the best experience you've had in your line of work?
I tell you, most all of them have been good. I've had fun doing some shows more than others. I used to do a show called the Star Club with Sherman Billingsley, you know. Remember that place?
Yes.
Yeah, Yul
For
Brynner
hearing,
was the director on it. And it used to be fun going over there and doing the show with him because there was always a lot of interesting people there and there was plenty of champagne and food, and, you know. But some were more gratifying than others. And we used to do all the Hallmark Hall of Fame shows, right? And there were hundreds and hundreds of wigs and them things, you know. So it's all been a great experience in my life. Really
And
good.
you've made many friends.
I hope so.
I mean, that's part of the.
We like to think
Is that
so.
part of the pleasure of this job? Is that you make
Oh, yeah.
personal friends?
Oh yeah, I have more people that know me than I know them. I stopped doing it now. I can't because my hand is so bad. Over the last 20, 25 years, I used to go out to at least 20 schools a year or International Thespian Society meetings and do makeup demonstrations for them. And I met all the kids from all over the United States. Almost in every state in the United States, I met kids. They know me, or their parents know me. You know. That's why even when I do this, a lot of kids will see this. A lot of their parents will know me. And that makes you feel good because they come from all over.
So it's been a satisfaction to you, this. You've gotten a lot out of this profession.
It's very gratifying.
So you would recommend it to a young person thinking of a career?
I would definitely, you know, if they want to follow it through, I would definitely recommend it. It's an enjoyable career.
Good. Thank you so much.
I would definitely recommend it.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us.
It's a
We've been
pleasure.
talking with hair and makeup artist Bob Kelly. For the American Theater Wing, I'm Pia Lindström.
The American Theater Wing's Guide to Careers in the Theater is a project of the American Theater Wing and the New York Public Library's Billy Rose Theater Collection, Theater on Film and Tape Archive.